computer. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm glad that you decided to join us this evening. Today we're going to talk about service, which is module 3. But before we get into service, let's share a little bit about what have you learned so far that you've already implemented and getting some results. Anybody?
I improved on my spelling.
You improved on your spelling. Can you be a little more specific, Eric?
No,
Like,
my spelling.
your spelling. Oh, you learn from my mistakes? Yeah, spelling was never my strength in school. I was more into math. Yep. Yes, anybody?
Sent a handwritten thank you card this last week.
Awesome. I'm sure the person who got it was very pleased and happy and surprised to get it. And that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. What about pride? How is your pride level in what you do? Are you feeling
better because I'm more focused on it.
More focused? Good. Anybody else?
I feel like it's brought more like awareness to me on having more pride. It's something that I've always aimed to do, is have pride in my work, but I feel like the last 6 months, especially when it's been a little harder and quieter, and I've started to lose focus on what I do love about selling. And part of that is just because a lot of the people that were there every day, interaction is just not there.
Right, right. And you know, most of us salespeople are people.
Yeah.
That's why we got into sales. We like to interact with people. So this is a challenging time for us. And I'm thankful that we can get together on Zoom and actually see one another, right, and chat with one another. That's why we're in sales. We like people. So we can't wait to get back in front of people, can we?
Right.
Are we all feeling it? What about your mindset? Have you made any adjustments?
I think that I have. I mean, it's kind of like what you put into your mind is what you start thinking about or practicing. So it's doing this and taking initiative to put those thoughts in your mind. I noticed that I reached out in the last week to more people, just more on a personal level too. So that also, I think, could have been a change of mindset of, okay, like, this is a personal time for a lot of people they're going through. So maybe instead of just contacting just to sell something, like contact to just see how they are and, you know, use that time to build a relationship just because you genuinely want to. So changed my mindset, and that kind of focused back on that a little more.
Awesome. And we'll talk more about that today. What you just shared, Sarah, we'll talk more about that today. But always remember, we don't have control over the thoughts that come into our mind. We do have control over how we respond to those thoughts. And remember, we shared the delete button. We have the power and the choice to delete the thoughts we do not want to entertain and to keep the thoughts we want to entertain. And we know what's good and what's evil. We know what's going to be beneficial to us and what's going to hurt us and the people around us. But without the awareness, what happens is we get so caught up, sometimes it's too late. And then we catch ourselves saying things like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Or I can't believe I did that. And your friends will tell you, Megan, how can you do something like that? That's not the Megan that I know. Because, I'm just using Megan as an example because, we let the thought flow without hitting that pause button and then choosing what's the best response. And then last week, we talked about special. I really hope that you're feeling so much more special now than before. I've met a lot of people in my lifetime, and people just we all tend to take ourselves for granted. And what's the most valuable thing we have? It's ourselves. Ourselves. Our heart, our soul, our mind. That's the most valuable thing that we have and how we use it. And again, always remember there's only one of you in this whole wide world. Over 8 billion people, there's only one. And they will never replace you. They'll never replace you. So we talk about pride, attitude, and special. And today, we're going to talk about service. And if you notice, the service is in the middle of all the modules. And today we're going to focus on service because it's so important. It's maybe the most important thing that sets us apart from our competition. The level of service that we provide. So let me share my screen. I'm sharing, where is it? Okay. Service. So, as I said, in sales and service kind of go together. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, sales and service go together. Now, whatever you do is a service to others. People have a passion for what they do. They don't work, they serve. And to stay in business, you must offer excellent service because customers will only tolerate poor service until they can get better service from somewhere else. Would you agree with that? How about you? Have you ever canceled a service?
Yes.
Yep.
Would you cancel a good service?
No.
No, right? You would not. And think about, especially and that's why, I try to get people to understand sales is a team effort. You and I, we the salespeople, we go out there, we generate the business, we work hard, and we get the business in. But the people in the customer service department, they got to know that they are part of the story. And they're the ones who maintain and keep that customer. But I guess, unfortunately, many people in customer service have not yet learned what customer service is all about. It's like, for example, today, I had to call American Express. They put me on hold. I got disconnected. And in over 15, 20 years now, people are talking about a one-call service. One-call solution. Have you heard that before? It's not happening. You get transferred. Oh, that's not my department. Let me transfer you to the right department. And then they hang up and and the call goes away. It's so frustrating. And they call that customer service. Go out of your way to provide superior service to everyone. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this maybe about 10 times today. The level of service you provide and how you provide it separates you from the competition. It widens the gap. You are known for your service, for the service you provide. Your products are okay, you provide good product, but how you provide the product, what the level of service you provide is what separates you apart from the competition. And I'm not met a salesperson yet who has no competition, have you?
Nope.
Even if you start a new idea, within 6 months, you have people jumping on your idea and they're just tweaking it a little bit. And, nothing stays exclusive for too long. So service to humanity is the best work of life. And that's one of the tenets of the JCI Creed. And again, sales is one of the most service-oriented profession. Most professions have to provide a good service, but sales in particular is one of the most service-oriented profession. Would you believe that? Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
let's pause for a minute and look at what's post service in the selling world. Give me some examples. Remember to unmute yourself. You can just hit the space bar and hold it down like a walkie-talkie. What's post service in the selling world?
Not returning customers' calls within a reasonable amount of time.
What's that, Alan?
Not returning their calls within a reasonable amount of time.
And what's a reasonable amount of time?
ASAP.
And what's the AS? You know, the thing about it is the ASAP might be different for you, might be different for somebody else. But what's your ASAP? And you get a call from
If I can take it right then, I take it right then. If I'm in the middle of something, then I have to wait till right after that.
as soon as possible after, right? Because what happens if you don't return that call in a timely manner? What happens?
They're not sure if you're there for them, basically.
Yeah, you start doubt, start set, and you know they start thinking, well, Sarah don't care about me. She's too busy. She already closed the sale, so she doesn't care about me anymore. You know, these are the thoughts that go through their mind. And then sometimes, if we wait too long, we forget.
True.
You know, and that's why I like one of the features of the cell phone. You know, you can see who called you and what time they call you. So you can be very specific when you reply. You know, you can refer, hey, I saw you call me at 1 o'clock, but I'm sorry I couldn't get back to you before I was in a meeting. Think about the impact of that. Then you're showing how much you care and how much you're on point with them. What else in terms of poor service in the selling world?
I would say not paying attention to the person or not giving your full attention, really.
Yeah, eye contact.
Yeah, that's me as a consumer. It makes a huge difference to me. And so then me as a seller, I always try to make sure, like if my phone or even if my watch goes off, I don't even glance down at it. It just like maintain that.
Yeah, and think about the impact when even if you're on a Zoom meeting or face-to-face, when we start getting back face-to-face, the first thing you do is silence your phone in front of and you tell them, I'm going to silence my phone. So the message you're sending is, I'm going to give you 100% of my attention. I'm going to give you all of me today. Just remember when you leave to turn it back on. That has happened to me in the past. I forget, and people go, hey, I've been calling you and you're not answering me. You know, so just remember to turn it back on. Yeah, focus. I sold cars for a short time, and I learned, especially when a husband and a wife comes in, I see my fellow sales guy, they ignore the wife. You got to include everybody in the conversation who is present, because you don't know who is the real decision maker. So include everybody. Yeah. So focus. Don't ignore people. In the selling world, you know, I mean, you got to get to the decision maker, but the people on the way, don't ignore them, because you don't know who is the one who is going to influence. You know, this guy is different, this girl is different. You need to meet this person. So you greet everybody who come in that building you're in, you greet everybody with a big smile, because you're setting up allies in the camp. Make sense, people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't ignore people. And salespeople like this, they get so focused. I'm here to see the manager. I'm here to see the owner. But what about the owner's wife? I remember once in one of my classes, this guy was complaining, and oh my God, he went to see this auto dealer, and he got there on time, and then they told him he had to wait a little bit. And it was 10, 15 minutes, and he was so irritated. So he had a friend who worked in the dealership, and he was talking to the dealership, and he was using all kind of, this effing manager, he had an appointment with me for 9 o'clock, and look at the time, it's 9:30, I'm still here, and he hasn't seen me yet. Guess what? The wife of the general manager was passing by and heard him. And she touched him on his shoulder, and she said, that effing manager is my husband.
Wow.
Yeah, you got kicked out of the place. You don't know who is listening. So you're going to be with your A game all the time. What else in the selling world? Poor service.
Not listening to what the customer really needs.
That's why, again, when we coach salespeople, great salespeople ask a lot of questions. Remember earlier we talked about diagnose before you prescribe. And then in any negotiation, the person who is doing more listening is the one who is winning. People like to talk about themselves. Give them that opportunity. And look at how the human being was designed. 2 ears, 1 mouth, which is a subtle indication that we should listen twice as much as we speak, especially in sales. When you listen, people sell themselves. Would you agree with that?
Agree.
Yeah. What else do we do in sales that, negative, poor service?
Don't cover all the bullet points and tell them everything.
Yeah. And then there's on the other side, there are some salespeople, they can't stop talking. And they oversell. They oversell. So you got to know your sweet spot. And that's why nonverbal communication is so important. You got to know when you're losing the attention of your prospect. Eye contact. And that will let you know, when to, hey, stop and ask a question. Is there anything you'd like to know about this? Because, people have different personalities and different communication styles. Some people, they just want the bullet points. Some people want you to dot every I, cross every T. Have you realized that? Depending on who you're talking to. If you talk, most accountants, they want to know everything. They want to know everything. Accountant, because they're the ones who are writing the check and doing the budget. They want to know everything. So you ask them, is there anything else you need for me to share with you? Instead of boring the people to death. They're ready to sign and you still talking. So be careful about that. And then on the other side, I've seen salespeople rush the sale. They give the impression that they're in a hurry. And they, don't ever look at your watch or your clock while you're talking. Give that person 100%.
Yeah, because it makes you look like you have something better to do.
Amen. Thank you, Larry. 100%. Remember, one of the tips we shared when we talk about how you make people feel special, they become the most important person the person in front of you is the most important person in your life at that time. And how important is the client to you? How valuable is the client to you? So anybody have anything else to add to some examples of poor service in sales, in the selling world? Nope. Okay, so why? Why do so many people give poor service or just enough or no more? What do you think?
I think it could be if they just don't really care about their job, if they don't care about the results.
They don't care. Yeah, that's a popular reason. They don't care. To many people, it's a job. It's a job. Anybody else? What about, what else? Why?
They don't learn their craft.
They don't study their stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. You in customer service and you don't know it. You should know more than the salesperson.
Underappreciated by the employer.
What's that, Diana?
He said underappreciated by their employer.
Yeah, but is that a reason for you to treat somebody else?
No.
No, it's not.
Right. But we need to coach leaders to appreciate their people. Anything else? Why?
They don't need to be in sales.
All right, you know, they don't need to be in that role. You know, you've heard about a square peg in a round hole. There are a lot of people in the wrong role. And then many of them, they're untrained. You know, most companies, they spend more of their training budget on the sales people and less on the customer service people. It's a team effort. So CEOs and executives should spend more money and invest in training their people. And, you know, I've tried to tell people training is not an event. Learning is not an event. It's a process. It's a process. So that's enough about negative salespeople. But these salespeople, these customer service people, these people who give you poor service, look at them. You know, they're sad, they're stressed out, they're tired, they're miserable. You know, I've never seen a person providing bad service with a big smile on their face, unless they're a criminal. Have you? You know, they're stressed out. On the other hand, let's talk about superior service. Give me some examples. Have you recently experienced superior service from anybody?
Yes.
Give us an example. Tell us more about it.
Well, I called American Express. Sincerely, I don't mean to kid you, but sincerely, I got good service instead of what you received.
Good for you. Lucky you. Oh, anybody else? Share a good service, a superior service story?
I called my bank recently, and they always pick up after the first ring, which is really
That's
nice.
right.
Yeah. And they just are always super quick and super friendly, and they always take care of make sure right away that they have your phone number, because it's so frustrating when you spend like so long and then it and then it through and then they don't call back. So
yeah,
I think they cover all their bases. They always ask at the end, is there anything else like we're missing? It makes you think, and that way you don't hang up and say, oh shoot, I forgot something, now I have to call back.
right. Anybody else? One more.
I
Superior
have an
service.
area that it's not necessarily sales, but it's great service. My dentist always calls anytime he does any work other than just a basic cleaning. He always calls the next day and checks on you and checks your pain level and different things. And it's a great example of good service in a non-sales or traditionally sales role. Yeah.
And you know, he's selling you to come back.
Well,
And
right. That's why I said traditionally. 'Cause, I mean, everything in the world is selling, really. But when you look at it, but like I said,
Right, and you know, you will refer friends to him,
that's right.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So the other thing I want to encourage you, whenever you get superior service, recognize the person. Recognize the person. Show them how happy and how appreciative you are for the service that they provide. And the thing about people who provide superior service, they don't have to. They don't get extra dollars, do they? No, only in sales. In sales, we make more money because we get more customers. You know, so why do some salespeople always seem to go out of their way to provide superior service? Why do you think? Or maybe I should ask you, what's the level of service you provide?
Because they see the benefit of it and they understand how it works.
They see, so they do it for the benefit, Alan?
You asked me one reason. That's one of the reasons.
That's one. Okay, yeah, it's a benefit. Good. Anybody else? Why? Who says some sales
They
people?
care. They're passionate.
They're passionate about what they do. They love what they do. You know, they care. They care about people. What else?
I a lot of times will think that they find importance in like being helpful, and that's, for me, it's a big thing for me too, is when I go out of my way, I want to be really helpful. And so sometimes I think maybe that's why other people would be doing it, because maybe it's just my guess, because that's what I am kind of drawn to in general. But some people just like to help out, and, you know, like in sales, we're in solution-based type of work. So
Yeah.
part of the fun when somebody has a problem and then you're able to help them, and then all of a sudden they just feel better. Like instant gratification.
And you know, the more it's about the emotional intelligence gurus will tell you, 80% of how we behave, how we perform is impacted by how we feel. People will buy from you if they feel good about you, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to make them feel good about you? Your service to them, how you respond, all what we're talking about so far, and they will refer you. So people who provide superior service, look at these people. They're happy. You know, they're less stressed. They produce more, etc., etc. So, to Alan's point, there are some benefits when you provide superior service. And after a time, it becomes your second nature. You know, people form habits, and habits form people. It's your standard of operations, how you perform, your standard of operation. Think about brands that we know. What's your favorite fast food restaurant? Anybody?
I don't have.
Okay, healthy.
Whataburger.
Whataburger. Yeah, I remember Whataburger when I was in Texas. What do you like about Whataburger?
John's. Jimmy John's. I like Jimmy John's.
Who?
The food's always the same. It's always the best.
It's the best, the food, okay? So what about the service? Does the service complement the food, Larry?
I'd say about 75% of the time.
75% of the time. Yeah. Anybody else? What's your brand?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. What do you like about Chick-fil-A, Diana?
You can tell when you drive up and you talk to the folks that work there, or if you go inside, you can tell that they've created such a culture of serving people. And you can tell that when you go in. You know, it's like, how can I help you today? That's the first thing out of their mouths. How can I help you, or how can I serve you?
And what do they say the last thing before you leave? What do they say? My pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
My pleasure. You see, that's the thing about great service. It has to be consistent. You know, like I bank with Wells Fargo, and sometimes I'm on the road, I have to go to another branch, and I can see the difference in the people. You know, how they treat you. Chick-fil-A, everywhere you go, they're so consistent. And everybody's smiling. And they give you the impression that they're happy. And you know, Chick-fil-A is one of the most successful fast food chain in the whole country. And they're growing at a faster rate than most others. Because of that, the food is great and healthy, but the service that they provide is superior. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we are known, our brand. What are we known for? What are your clients saying about you? What do you want them to say about you? Anybody? What do you want them to say about you?
They're the best.
Yeah. You know, like I'm a client of Megan. She's the best of the best. You know, she never disappoints me, and she is on time. I don't have to wait when I contact Megan. I don't have to wonder, is she going to call me back? Is she? No. Megan, are you still with us?
I'm here. Keep going. I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah. She's the best, and she never settles for okay, that will do. We're always looking for a way to tweak and make it, if not perfect, as close to perfect as possible. And I can testify to that. People don't leave companies, they leave poor service. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we want to stay in business, we got to provide superior service. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever surveyed your client base to find out what they think about your service?
Nope.
Think about that. And think about if you send an email that says, hey, how can I improve my service for you? Do you think any other salesperson is going to send an email like that or a question like that? Or even make a phone call? How can I improve my service for you? And then when you call them and they see your name on their caller ID, how do you want them to feel? Or how do you want them to respond?
Or we don't want
Happy? Yeah.
Huh? You want them to answer the phone, don't you?
No, go to voicemail.
Right. It depends on the relationship you have with the people. Great salespeople build strong, lasting relationships. That's why I encourage all salespeople to fire yourself as a salesperson and rehire yourself as a trusted business partner. When you are selling products and services to a company, you are now their business partner, because whatever you provide is going to help them to grow their business, to make their business more efficient, to reduce their cost of doing business, and to increase their profit. That's a business partner. And that's what we do as our role. With that mindset, you're going to be a superstar. You're going to get so many referrals. And I'm not just saying this, I've experienced this. I remember when I got into the credit card sales in Miami, Florida. Now, no, if you've ever been to Miami, 90% of the people there speak Spanish. My Spanish is buenos días, como esta, muchas gracias. And I was afraid of cold calling. I was deadly afraid of cold calling. Until one day, a guy I called upon said, I'm glad you came. And then I changed my mindset. I said, wait a minute, one happy person to see me compensates for the 100 who kicked me out their door. And you close the sale. And then I changed my mindset. I said, I'm not going cold calling today. I'm going to shake some hands. Another day I said, I'm going to go fishing for a customer today. I don't know which one it is, but if I don't go out there, I'm never going to find him. And it's amazing. After 6 months of doing that, I did not have to cold call anymore. I was getting so many referrals. So many referrals, it kept me busy. The only time I went cold calling after that is when I was coaching a new sales guy on how to do it. Your mindset, your intention, people can see that and they can recognize that. I had clients who invited me to their children's birthday party. It was a relationship. And you have to do a little coaching. I would tell them, hey, remember me if somebody move in next door, I see that the next door location is empty, give me a call. And they did it. But you have to coach them. So what's your level of service? What are some of the things you do to set yourself apart with respect to service? Anybody?
Shower and shave.
Shower and shave.
Presentation, how you're dressed, how you look.
Yeah, it's very important. Anybody else?
I don't know if it's kind of silly, but friendliness. I try to be really happy and smiley and
right. It's
yeah.
contagious. Your emotions are contagious. You smile at people, they're going to smile back at you. You frown at people, they're going to frown back at you. Or then they say, I wonder what's wrong with her. You know?
Right.
You don't want to ever give that impression. I was teaching a class once, and this rep was very honest, and she said one of her clients told her, you know, every time I see you, the first thing that comes to my mind is I have to write a check. You know, and Sarah, you were saying earlier that you call them just to call, not to make a sale. So sometimes it's so good to just call.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just checking on you. So if I would ask you, who is your favorite client? Can you write a name down? Write that person's name down on a piece of paper. Your favorite client. The client who is making you the most money. Well, not necessarily your favorite, but your favorite client. Now, is that client married or single? If you don't know, write no. I don't know. If they marry, you know that they married, write yes. Then now, if you wrote yes, what's the name of that client's spouse? Do they have children? What are the names of the kids? Now, think about it. You are a salesperson. You call a client. I'm going to role play with Alan because I know the name of his wife. And I call and I say, hey, Alan, how are you doing? How's the wife? And that's how most conversations go, right? But look at the difference. Hey, Alan, how are you doing, man? And how is Donna doing? You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Get more information about your people, you know, and get to know what's going on in their lives. It's a relationship. People who provide superior service, they have a relationship with their clients. You know, I used to find out a lot when it's their birthday, I'll send them a birthday card. And they have to do that. The anniversary of the day they signed the contract with me, I will remind them and send them, hey, you know, this 5 years ago, you signed this agreement with me and we met on so and so day. Relationship. And the other thing is when you start visiting them face to face again, leave your briefcase in the car or your laptop in the car, unless you have an appointment to to make a sale. Because the moment they see that briefcase, what comes to their mind, oh, he's going to try to sell me something. And your intention is just to stay connected. Mm. Can you think about anything else, people, that you can do to provide superior service and set yourself apart from your competition?
I think that you should be upfront with people. Like sometimes,
yeah.
I'm not in sales, but I work for a cardiologist, and we have to change appointments all the time because my doctor is always gone. And just say, well, if the doctor's not here, that's not like a great, like, you're always calling and changing. So they're upset. But if you actually spend the time to explain to them why you're changing, or why you couldn't get back to them, or even just saying, hey, I'm just letting you know that there could be a fee for this, just being
Be
explaining.
upfront, yeah. And I've met quite a few salespeople who are not totally upfront. We need to be upfront if we want to provide, superior service. Anybody else?
But saying no,
No. Yeah. No.
and even if it's for this sale, but you may get the next one. But it's like, hey, we don't have XYZ for what you're looking for, but I know our competitor does. You can check. Here's the
Yeah.
link to the website and the part number. They'll appreciate that more than you kind of just writing them off and saying, yeah, next.
Right. And we sell different products and services. Think about being aware of the business of your clients. And you might see something on the internet. You might hear something on the news that relates to their business. Think about the impact when you send them an email or a text. Hey, I saw this article and I thought you might be interested in learning about this information. See the impact? You're thinking about them. They are important. You're giving them the impression that they are important to you. Okay, let's have one more person share. What can you do to separate yourself, widen that gap between you and the competition? Hello?
We kind of mentioned this earlier, but I would circle back to the quick response. And for me, I try my best if I am in a situation where I can't fully respond to at least just send like I see this kind of out, because I think the quicker you can touch base, then they won't go searching for the next person because they know that, okay, she already saw my request and I'm good, I'm set, I just have to wait now.
Acknowledgement. And I like this new feature on the iPhone where it says you can just click, sorry, I can't talk right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Acknowledgement. Acknowledge the fact that I know you're there. I'll get back to you. Sorry, I can't talk right now. If you open your mind and be more intentional about providing superior service, it's amazing what will come out of that. And then at the end of the day, you will be the greatest benefactor. Your own sense of accomplishment, sense of achievement, that I did my best for this client. I did my best for this client. And you know what? When people say no to you, they don't want to buy from you, never slam the door. Always leave a window open. But you might say something, okay, I can understand why maybe now is not the right time for us to do business, but keep my contact information handy. And is it okay if I just drop in now and again? I promise you I'm not going to be a pest. That's the other thing, some people can be so pushy and irritated and gets irritated after a time. So, okay, any questions? All right, here are some simple acts of service that we can all do. Smile, people. There's too much sadness and anger in the world today. People need to see more joy and more smile. It's contagious. Exceed expectations. Be intentional about exceeding. You've heard the statement, under promise, over deliver. Surprise your people. Say thank you. Write that thank you note. Hold the door. How many times you walk into a building and somebody is right behind you, or you're the one behind and the person in front of you, they just let the door slam in your face. How does that make you feel? And then there's the exception when the person in front of you, they hold the door for you. You do it for people. Give up your place in line. You're at the supermarket. You have about 10 items. And you notice it's about being aware. You notice the person behind you, they only got 1 or 2. You let them go by. That's a sweet act of service. Call people by their name. Oh my goodness. Call people by, you know, think about it. When you call a customer service number, and this is one of my habits that I have, I make sure I get the name of the person and I ask them, am I pronouncing your name properly? And every half of a sentence, I will say their name. So you remember it and you repeat it. People love it. I get better service when I call them by name, wherever I go. And if they don't have on their name tag, I will ask them, what's your name? What's your name? A person's name is like their brand. What's your name? Compliment people. Compliment people. I like your smile. You know, your hair looks so nice today. You girls spend a lot of money on your hair. You know, so compliment people. Hello?
Hello.
Say bye.
Bye
That's my God. Pray for strangers. Pray for strangers. And make the U-turn. Now, what I mean here is you driving on the road, you see somebody on the side of the street, maybe you just start thinking that person needs some help. But I'm busy, and then you drive for 100 yards, 200 yards, and you feel so like it's gripping you. I need to go help that person. Have you ever done that? And then look at the smile on their face when you stop and say, hey, can I help you? You need a ride. Be careful though. Make sure you're being led by the Spirit when you do that. Can you think about any other simple acts of service that you can do? How about tipping? How many of you tip? Not only in restaurants, but somebody do something good for you and you tip them. Please don't over tip. Please only tip when you get good service. You know, I'm known to ask waiters, servers, do you think you earned a tip today? Do you think you earned a tip today? And I have my own rule of thumb. You give me okay service, you're going to get an okay tip. You give me good service, you're going to get a good tip. You give me great service, you're going to get a great tip. Because I want to encourage people to continue doing good. So, some Bible verses about service. Come on. What happened to this thing? Okay. My PowerPoint freeze on me. Okay. Oh, there we go. For we are co-workers in God's service. You are God's field and God's building. 1 Corinthians 3:9. We are co-workers. Faith without deeds. Check that out when you have a minute. James 2:14. You see, without deeds, what going through your mind, your thoughts is of no value. We are judged by our actions. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead, where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. Do it with all your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. To prepare God's people for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up. Works of service. You notice how the word service is being repeated here? I know your deeds, your love and faith, your service and perseverance, and that you are now doing more than you did at first. You're doing more than you did at first. He will reply, and this is my prayer, I tell you the truth, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. Some people are very selective in who they provide good service to, but people who have good intentions and mean well, they provide good, it's their habit. And see Matthew 6:1-4 in secret service, Psalm 100, joyful service. So let's review. What confirmation that you are doing the right thing did you get today? I hope you did get some confirmation.
Response time.
Response time. Thank you, Eric. I'd like to hear from every one of you, and because I know you're all doing some good stuff.
Brendan,
me
it's
shy.
been, exceeding expectations. I was going to say it right before you said that. That it's one of the things that always helps is just kind of going the extra mile or going the extra step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The extra mile, the extra step, you know. Thank you, Jason. Alan?
Being genuine and sincere in your efforts, like paying them a compliment. Don't just pick something. Have a genuine, sincere feeling about it when you do it.
Yeah, and you know, they will detect that by your tone of voice and by your eye contact. Anybody else? What are you doing? What confirmation that you're doing the right thing did you get? Because we all have been in sales for a little while, right? This is not our first day. So you've got to be doing something right. I don't want to call on anybody, but in the essence of time,
I'd say acknowledgement and just that attention, putting towards the attention and acknowledging somebody, and yeah.
yep. Thank you, Sarah. Anybody else?
Be
I would really
personable.
like to hear Larry Wayne.
Yeah, be personable.
Be personable. Yeah. You know, Dale Carnegie said, act enthusiastic and you will be enthusiastic. And enthusiasm and excitement are contagious. Next. We heard from Sarah, we heard from Eric, we heard from Larry Wayne.
I always thank them for being my customer. Thank you for, for putting faith in the company. So.
Oh yeah, I remember when Diana and I worked at Retriever, she was the queen of Retriever. Everybody had great things to say about her because of the quality of service that she provided. I can testify to that. Thank you, Diana. I'm looking for Megan.
I think being there for your customers and listening to them and hearing, their pain points and what's important to them.
Yeah, because why are they calling you? They need help.
Yeah.
They need help. So thank you for sharing. How about, what is one thing, only one thing you need to stop doing now as a result of what we discussed today? Did anybody come up with anything?
In each situation, I have to check my attitude where I was not doing that. So if I was having a bad day, or if I had something happen right before that, I would let it flow into it.
There you go.
Kind of gets checked at the door before you go into this process.
There you go, Alan. I've seen too many people, they carry the garbage from one experience into another experience. You have to learn to compartmentalize. Leave it, that's gone, forget about that. This is a new opportunity, a new client. Don't kick the dog. Anybody else?
Not rushing through the sale or not rushing through the time, taking the time that you need or that your customer needs.
Exactly. And in sales, you will find that customer who is ready to go now. And then there are others who you need to talk to them a couple of times. Maybe the timing. We don't know what's going on in their lives. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We got to be patient. And we salespeople, and I say we salespeople, patience is something we have to learn. We are hustlers. Yeah. We want it and we want it now. And we have this number. Anybody else? One thing you need to stop doing now. Okay, how about, what is one thing you need to start doing now?
I know one thing for me is I need to start remembering the follow-up sale calls, afterwards, that, instead of just calling them maybe the next couple day or two, call 30 days later, and stop putting that off, or, procrastinating that.
Especially if you're in equipment sales, it's so beneficial to call, hey, how did that installation go? Is everything working how you expected? Follow up, follow through. Anybody else?
I'd like to do the learning more details about your customers when you had that example of write down your favorite customer's name.
Yeah.
And I knew he was married, but I don't know any of the other questions, and it was really like made me check myself. I want to know more on a personal level, because I think that's what helps make the best impression in a relationship, when you're paying attention to those.
Yeah, and think about that's how you establish common ground. You walk into most people's offices, they have pictures of their family hanging up on the wall. Do you carry a picture of your family around with you? So, hey, nice family. Hey, listen, look at mine. You're establishing common ground. And then, you walk into somebody's office, they have a trophy or something. Acknowledge it, recognize it. Even if it's a golf trophy or a sports trophy, recognize it. Anybody else? One thing you need to start doing now.
I think also asking like what we could improve upon is definitely something I could do.
Thank you, Megan. How can I do better for you? Yeah, it's about you. And I would hope that maybe once every 6 months, you all do a survey of your personal service. Not the company, but your personal service. How am I doing? How can I improve? And keep it simple. And if you need help to design a simple survey, I'm here for you. Okay? All right, any closing comments? Closing thoughts?
I'd like to add that I really, really liked the part about leaving your briefcase and stuff in the car when you're just doing those, just like a quick stop-in.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I am just doing a stop-in, and I have felt like what you're saying, it actually felt almost a little wrong or off to bring that in. In my mentality, I'm thinking, well, I want to come off as being prepared in case something comes up.
Right.
But then I think actually what you were saying leaves more of an impression than, if you're getting closer with the customer, they're not going to mind if you have to say you have to run to your car to get the brochure.
Right, exactly. You send the message. My intention today is just to come visit with you and, keep in touch. Kind of deal. Okay, anybody else? Closing comments? How was it today for you?
Great.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next week we're going to go to module 4. I'm going to talk about taking an initiative and doing it with integrity, and then taking ownership. So we have 2 more modules to go. I know some of you can't wait for us to finish, but I hope you're enjoying this and enjoying one another's company. I intentionally include everybody's email so you have each other's email. And I encourage you to connect with one another and share, bounce things off of one another. Okay?
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Lincoln. It was great.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night, everybody, and see you in a couple more days. And again, if you have an idea, you want to get a second opinion, you have all my contact information. One thing before we go, I am going to be doing a 90-minute session on leading with passion.
Oh, I need that.
If you know anybody, and this is not just for sales leaders, if you know anybody who is a leader and you know you've had a taste of this and you think they would benefit, let me know and I will send you the registration and the information that Megan did so well for me.
Thank you.
Okay,
We need it. Send it to us.
I'll send it to you and then you decide what you want to do with it. Is that
All right.
okay with everybody?
Yep.
Yeah,
You
sounds
know,
good.
that's another thing I've learned in sales. Get permission. Get permission. You know, when I was in sales, I used to love to ask the customer, how would you like me to communicate? Do you like text? Do you prefer email? Do you need a phone call? Because I don't know. You know what happens when you assume.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any final closing comments before we say goodnight?
Don said he's going to listen to the recording and be ready for next week.
You got it. I'm going to send it to him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, my friends, have a good night. Be
Good night.
safe.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
see you next week.
Good night.